Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Jolly by Nature, and we are back bringing you Week 3 of the Blastburn Radio Community Draft League, Season 3, VGC Doubles. And your Indianapolis Zolts are gearing up for a high-flying match against our good friend Penguinmage and her Palm Bay Piplup. Penguin is one hell of a competitor. She has made finals, actually, I believe. Yeah, she made finals in our first season. Or semis, might have been semis. She was very good, made it very deep into the playoffs, certainly. And yeah, like we can never, ever count Penguin out. I believe she's 0-2 on the season currently. I certainly can't criticize. We're only 1-1. We had that pretty unfortunate results in week 1. So hopefully we can continue to pick things up from there and get into a truly winning record at the end of this week. I will say this was a really difficult match to prepare for. The team that you see in front of you is not the team that we had prepared initially. I did a lot of scrims and found some pretty glaring weaknesses to some of what Penguin has. Not necessarily some of what I expect her to bring, and we'll certainly get into that. But I also don't want to get too complacent or feel like I'm too smart, as it were, and start making big mistakes because of that. So yeah, let's go ahead and just take a look at what she has and break down the team that we built and why we're building it. Holy cow, Aria, you are getting super close. All right, bye. Okay. So Penguin's roster consists of Gigantamax, Butterfree, Azumarill, Arcanine, Kommo-o, Sylveon, Weavile, Lycanroc, Dusk, ALOLAN, Raichu, Pincurchin, Drampa, Frostmoth, and Dedenne. And there's a lot of power on this roster, a lot of power. It's funny because Penguin didn't really approach drafting this team from the perspective you might expect of, I'm building a VGC draft team, what is good in VGC, although she got a lot of what is good in VGC, just right off the top. You've got a Azumarill, who is an absolute monster, particularly inside of Trick Room with its huge power and low speed stat, but also has massively powerful priority in Aqua Jet that can be super useful as a fast mode as well. You've got Arcanine, who is one of the premier intimidators in the format. Obviously, there is only one Incineroar in draft, and we have it, so Arcanine actually went significantly higher than Incineroar because, again, Penguin just kind of picks her favorites and goes from there. But definitely one of the best Intimidate users in the format. Also a potential Justified user, and she does have that Weavile, so we always have to be prepared for the Justified beat-up strategy that is very possible on this roster. You have Kommo-o, Kommo-o obviously, quad fairy weakness is less than ideal, but it's very fat and very offensive and can just do a number of different things. Kommo-o is one of those mon that I think is way stronger in draft format than it is on ladder, just because, on ladder you always want to bring what it's absolutely best at, which is maybe beaten out by other options, but in draft format, I don't know if this thing is going to be physical, if it's going to be special, if it's going to be choiced, if it's going to set up with Dragon Dance, if it's going to set up with Klingris Soul Blaze or whatever its Omni Boost move is. It just has a lot of options that we have to be prepared for. Gmax Butterfree is a C-tier Gmax, which definitely freed up a lot of points for some of these other high-profile picks, but also I would argue is probably the highest value C-tier Gmax. Not so much for its Gigantamax form. I don't expect to ever see Butterfree Dynamax in this match, although if it does, that'd certainly be hype. Gmax Butterfree is awesome. But just for the variety of support moves that it has that are really good in VGC. It gets access to Rage Powder, it gets access to Sleep Powder, it gets access to Tailwind, all of which are really potent moves. Throw Focus Sash on that thing, and you're gonna get one of those off, maybe two, if you're able to outspeed. Butterfree's speed tier is only middling at best, which is unfortunate. You would expect it to be a little faster, but then again, if it sets a Tailwind turn 1 and your opponent doesn't have a way to match that, then it's likely gonna get a turn 2. It's definitely something to watch out for. Sylveon is a huge threat in VGC, actually in the current Series 6, ironically, Azumarill, Arcanine, and Sylveon are all seeing huge upswings because of all the other threats that got banned. But Sylveon, particularly Specs Sylveon with Hyper Voice Pixelate, is a problem. Weavile is the problem for me because it is faster than everything on my team. It just outspeeds everything outright, which is not something that I'm super accustomed to with Inteleon. So that's just something that we have to be aware of, is unless we're able to get a max airstream off or get a tailwind up or something of that nature, Weavile will always be faster if it comes. Lycanroc is an interesting Pokemon. It's frail. It does not have a great defensive typing, but it's extremely powerful and potent offensively. It's got the base 110 speed, which we do outspeed with several things, but which is still very fast in the format. It has access to Rock Slide, which is the best offensive move in the format, I think, pretty well hands down. You can make an argument, I think, for like Expanding Force or Grassy Glide for Rillaboom specifically, but Rock Slide hitting both sides of the field and flinching is just, it's so good. It's so good. It gets Excelgor, which is Rock type priority, which is a unique move that only the Lycanroc family gets. And then it has really good coverage options like Close Combat and Drill Run and Play Rough, all of which are boosted by its ability Tough Claws. Rock Slide, unfortunately, is not, and Max moves, unfortunately, are not, which I think are both problematic things for that Pokemon's ease of use in the format. But it's still very strong, and I have to be aware that there's a very real chance that very fast Rock Slides are going to go off and start flinching me, and what do I do in that case? Like, throw a Choice Band on this boy, click Rock Slide, and you're in trouble. You got Drampa, who's actually like really threatening in the Trick Room. There's no Trick Room setters on this team. Like, Penguin is unable to set her own Trick Room, but Drampa, I think, is pretty strong here as a Trick Room deterrent, alongside Pincurchin, who is also very slow. And then Frostmoth is really interesting. It gets a lot of really cool options. It's not super fast, but it gets access to Tailwind and Quiver Dance, both of which will boost its speed problems. It gets access to Aurora Veil, which there's no Hail setter on this team, but there are multiple ice types who can max and set Hail through max ice, and actually multiple other mon. I'm pretty sure Kommo and Azumarill both also get Ice Punch. So there's a number of mon on this team that can set Hail, and we have to be aware that there is an Aurora Veil threat here. But yeah, Frostmoth can do a number of things both supportively and offensively that are really threatening. It is also like ridiculously specially fat with its signature ability, which I think is Shield Dust, which effectively doubles its special defense, or rather halves incoming special damage. There is a difference there. Yeah, like it's not a super consistent mon, and obviously having multiple quad weaknesses in the form of both ice and fire is less than ideal, but it does things. Like it's definitely got some pretty strong tech options. I actually considered it for my board for a while, although it went before I was willing to pick it up, and I didn't feel a huge amount of regret over that. Again, it is not the easiest mon to use. We've also got Dedenne here. Dedenne is Dedenne. It is useless. I can't say it's useless. I've seen it used successfully in drafts. Somehow, I don't think it has a even moderately good matchup against me. I am not scared of the Dedenne. If it comes, I believe that is a mistake. The big threat, however, on this team, I think 100% is the combination of Alolan Raichu and Pincurchin, which is really impressive considering how low tier those picks are. But Alolan Raichu, particularly against me, is just a problem. Pincurchin, if you weren't aware, gets Electric Surge, I think is the name of the ability. It sets electric terrain when it enters the field. And then obviously Alolan Raichu synergizes really well with that, with its ability Surge Surfer, which doubles its speed while in electric terrain. It's like, you know, Slush Rush, only for terrain instead of hail. And it's very good. It's already got the same base 110 speed as Lycanroc, so that makes it just stupidly fast. And then the new move, Rising Voltage, gains 140 base power when in electric terrain. It is dumb. It hits so stupid hard. So that is something that we have to be prepared to deal with, is that incredibly powerful Rising Voltage. Coming off of both of these mon, but particularly Alolan Raichu, who's a little bit more offensive. The other problem here is that I can't, like, Terrain strategies normally I match up really well against because I, of course, have Indeedee, who can set Psychic Terrain, so I can counter their terrain with my terrain. Unfortunately, ALOLAN RAICHU is Electric and Psychic type and can also abuse my Psychic Terrain, and it outspeeds my Indeedee. So even though Indeedee is going to resist, obviously, Psychic type Expanding Forces, it still can't take 2 of them, which is a problem. I've got some answers to potentially deal with that, and we're certainly going to talk about those. But I think that as long as it comes, managing ALOLAN RAICHU is going to be key to winning these matches. If I had to pick which 6 of these mon I think are best against my team that I think that Penguin should bring, I think it would definitely be some combination of the G-Max Butterfree, certainly in a supportive role. The Azumarill, likely, I think AV Azumarill is actually really good against me. I definitely think that you always bring Arcanine and Kommo-o. Maybe not both. Maybe against me you bring maybe Arcanine and not Kommo-o. I have a lot of Fairy. So yeah, let's say Butterfree, Azumarill, Arcanine. I think you need to bring Weavile. It's your only... Think about this team. It has 1 Dark type to immune out Psychic moves. It has no Psychic resistances whatsoever. No Steel. So yeah, I feel like you almost have to bring Weavile in that it outspeeds my fast threats and also is your only immunity to Expanding Force. And then Pincurchin RAICHU, I think, should round out the 6. That being said, we're only 3 weeks into the season. For the first 2 games, Penguin brought the exact same 6 mon. So I'm not sure how much week-to-week prep she's actually doing versus having just built a team of 6 that she thinks is good and running with it. Both are very possible here. So if we see the same team of 6 that Penguin has been bringing, that would be Azumarill, Arcanine, Kommo-o, Lycanroc, Raichu, Pincurchin. Which I think would be better for us, honestly. I think no Butterfree, no Weavile is an improvement from where I'm sitting, but we'll certainly have to just kind of wait and see what comes. We can't discount anything, and obviously, even though I don't expect it to come, I don't think it has the best matchup against me. I have to be prepared for the Sylveon and the Frostmoth in particular. I have to have answers for those, or they are going to be big problems down the stretch. So let's talk about what we're bringing. We're going to start things off with the same mon that we've started things off with every week, and that is Tempo, our Whimsicott. We're bringing a much more offensive Tempo set this week than we have previously. We're rocking Timid Nature Focus Sash with max investment in special attack and a lot of investment in speed. Specifically, this is enough investment to outspeed any of the base 110s. So this Whimsicott outspeeds Raichu outside of electric terrain, and it also outspeeds Lycanroc just by default. It doesn't help so much with Lycanroc because it can just Excel Rock, which will crumple our poor Tempo, but that is what the Focus Sash is for. We're rocking Moonblast, Tailwind, Protect, and Misty Terrain this week, and I feel like this set is really important. Protect was really important this week in case of Weavile with Fake Out, to allow us to live that turn and then set Tailwind the following turn. A really common strategy against Tailwind Whimsicott is just to double into it with Fake Out on the first turn and prevent it from getting Tailwind off. So with Protect, we can prevent that from happening should Weavile come. We're also rocking Moonblast, and again, the max special attack investment means that we should OHKO Kommo-o. As long as it's not Roselli Berry, and if it's Roselli Berry, then that means that it's not Life Orb or Throat Spray or something else problematic. So we'll take that. We're rocking Tailwind for obvious reasons. Going fast is good. We like to go fast. And then Misty Terrain, I think, is actually really good tech here. Prankster Misty Terrain, because it is a terrain that Raichu does not benefit from. So if we feel like it's a bad matchup, a bad time, we brought a bad 4, for instance, to bring out the Psychic Terrain and stop Raichu's dominance that way, we can just set Misty and it can't abuse that terrain. Also, Misty reduces the damage that Kommo-o does with Clinging Scales. So I think it's really good tech this week. I think that it'll do real well. But yeah, I mean, fairly standard, if more offensive than what we have been running Whimsicott. We're going to click a lot of Moonblast, I think, and hopefully actually do some damage. So that's exciting. We are also bringing our Indeedee mail this week. We have to bring Indeedee mail. It practically goes unresisted. It's free real. Expanding Force is free real estate, ladies and gentlemen. We're rocking an offensive Indeedee, also timid-natured, with a Twisted Spoon. to boost that expanding force damage. We're rocking max special attack investment, enough speed investment to outspeed Komodo 100% of the time. And we're rocking Expanding Force, Dazzling Gleam, Ally Switch, and Protect. Dazzling Gleam is here for Komodo. Ally Switch is here. There are a lot of instances, particularly if RAICHU is a problem, where just being able to like switch things around on the field could be useful. Not so much if RAICHU's out and clicking Expanding Force, but yeah, if I find myself in a position where Indeed's outsped, it's probably not going to do a lot. I can at least get some ally switches off and support his ally on the field, which I think is really, really good here. Crescendo is in a great place to do big work this week. I just got to make sure I don't actually set my opponent up for them. We're bringing Nyanhausen, our Incineroar, back this week, and we are rocking an Assault Vest Incineroar set this week. And guys, this Incineroar, just Assault Vest, max HP, little bit of SPDEF investment, Rising Voltage in Electric Terrain is a 3-hit KO. We have to take 3 of those from RAICHU for RAICHU to KO us with Life Orb. It's nuts. It is sick. So we're rocking, again, max HP, little bit of SPDEF, a lot of attack. So this is a very offensive Incineroar. With Fake Out, Darkest Lariat, Flare Blitz, and U-Turn. I like this set a whole lot. I wanted to run Lash Out. Penguin doesn't have a lot of max options that lower my stats. So obviously, like, Lash Out could be useful in Intimidate situations, but that, I figured that was pretty niche to give up on the raw power of Darkest Lariat, so we went with Darkest Lariat. But yeah, I like this set a lot. I think it does a whole lot of work against Penguin's team. Notably, we can click U-Turn a lot. Like, U-Turn practically OHKOs RAICHU. Like, it does like 96% damage. It's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, we can click U-Turn with pretty much impunity. Obviously, Intimidate is really, really good against a lot of the physical threats, like Weavile and Lycanroc and Azumarill, and then just the sheer raw special bulk here is super nice against the RAICHU option. So I think Incineroar is going to have a big week this week. We're bringing Clefable yet again. Clefable and Whimsicott, the only mon that have come every single week. But we're bringing a bold, unaware safety goggles Clefable. And again, Butterfree hasn't come to a single match this season for Penguin. It's entirely possible that Butterfree doesn't come to a single match, and then I'm wasting an item slot here. But the great thing here is that if Butterfree comes, we can follow me any potential sleep or stun powders into the Clefable and just not even give a shit about them. It completely nullifies that. It makes it to where all Butterfree is good for is Tailwind and Rage Powder, which is really good things to be good for if we're being 100. But it's not quite as disruptive as being able to put my whole team to sleep. And we're rocking a mixed defensive set, max HP investment, a lot of defense, a little bit of SPDEF, enough to get kind of mixed defenses going on. Again, really, overall, this is a more physically than specially offensive team, but the special threats are so legitimate that I have to respect them. I gotta put some respect on their names, so that's what I'm doing here. We're rocking the Follow Me, Helping Hand, Protect as per usual. In that 4th move slot, again, I'm not super often going to click that 4th move slot, so it's kind of academic in some ways, but I ultimately went for Heal Pulse this week, just because I do feel like Incineroar has such a good game here, and Flare Blitz Recoil in particular has me going, what if it doesn't last as long as I want it to? This gives me an option to give it some external recovery and keep Incineroar on the field longer, which I think is just good here. We're rocking Allegro, the Porygon Z. The boy is back, the duck, the hero of week 2. And we're rocking a Timid Adaptability Life Orb set. Again, enough speed investment actually to outspeed our own Indeedee every time. We were also speed creeping for the Komodo here, but like one thing that I think is really important is in doubles in particular, is knowing which of your mon is going to go first, not having a speed tie on your own side of the field. Given the specific moves that those two have, I don't know that a speed tie between them super matters, but it could. And so this way, at least if I'm in a situation where I have Porygon on one side of the field and Indeedee on the other, I know Porygon's going first, which is good. max special attack investment, the little bit left just kind of chucked into HP. We're rocking Hyper Beam, Solar Beam, Tri-Attack, and Protect. We are actually rocking Solar Beam this week. And again, much like the Misty terrain on Whimsicott, Solar Beam is just there, so if we are maxing Porygon Z, which if it's coming, we very likely are, we have the option to change the terrain. Keep electric terrain off the field, which is good. Max Overgrow from Porygon does OHKO Raichu, like it does a ton of damage to almost anything because Porygon's Z. So we can change that terrain and help reduce the threat overall that Raichu represents. Other than that, we just hit fuck off hard with Max Strike out of Hyper Beam and then Hyper Beam itself until Porygon Z goes down. That's what he does. We saw him do it very convincingly and effectively last week. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then last but not least this week, we are bringing back the boy, Legato, the Gigantamax Inteleon. Timid, Sniper, Scopeland. We're bringing the crit Inteleon set this week with max special attack investment. A lot of speed. This is enough speed to outspeed the base 110s. Did I outspeed my own Whimsicott? I think I outsped my own Whimsicott. No, we underspeed Whimsicott. That's actually better. Yeah, Whimsicott is trained 1 point up on Inteleon, who is trained 1 point up on the base 110s. And a not insubstantial amount of HP investment left over, so that's good. We might be a little bulkier than our opponent's expecting, and we're rocking 3 attack focus energy. And this set, I think, is actually really good in this particular matchup. We should be able to pretty reliably get a focus energy off, like if we lead Clef Inteleon, and then we just crit. With focus energy and Scope Lens, we crit 100% of the time and deal so much damage. We've got Air Slash here, which is primarily just here to give us the option to max Airstream and get our speed up. We have Dark Pulse, which is here for Dark Pulse is here for Raichu. I don't think just Raichu. I'd have to go back and look at exactly what she has, but Dark Pulse is here for Raichu. It's also, we considered running Mud Shot, but I felt like Dark Pulse was a better neutral move, and specifically it's a move that nothing immunes out on their team. My concern with Mud Shot is that we would see a switch into Butterfree and we lose one of our 3 max turns on a cheeky flying switch in, which I do not want. And Dark Pulse definitely OHKOs Raichu. I'm pretty sure Dark Pulse OHKOs Raichu without the crit. So it's very good. And then Snipe Shot is excellent. Notably, Snipe Shot has a inherent +1 to crit chance just for the move. And so even if we don't get the focus energy off, if we bring Inteleon in the back, for instance, and use it to clean in the late game, just clicking Snipe Shot with Scope Lens, we have like a 66% chance to crit, which is very good. And obviously Sniper giving us like the 2.25% crit damage. It's nuts. So yeah, I don't know actually who our better sweeper in this matchup is, if it's Legato or if it's Allegro. I kind of feel like it's Legato, just because of the speed matchup. I feel like Inteleon's really good here. Although I feel like if I'm bringing both of them to a given match and one of them's Dynamaxing, the Dynamax should probably be Allegro. I feel like Inteleon does better outside of Dynamax than Porygon Z does. But yeah, this is the team for this week. It's very offensive, but I feel like we've got the defensive pieces where we need them, and I feel like we're in a really good position to do work. We made a number of mistakes week 1 when we had a pretty similar team overall, but I think that the biggest mistake that we made in week 1 was running such a defensive Incineroar, and thus really having half our team in like defensive supporty roles. This Incineroar is much more offensive, and hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of that and deal some big damage. But that's going to be it for today, guys. Sorry that this video came out just a little bit late. That's just kind of the way scheduling worked out this week. You're not likely to see the match video come out today because it's going to take place today, or it should. And depending, I guess, on what time that winds up happening, maybe I'll put it out late in the day. Maybe it'll be tomorrow on Sunday. We'll see. But we'll get the match up to you guys as soon as is reasonable after it has taken place. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. As always, I've been Jolly by Nature. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.